The internet is on fire tonight, and it all comes down to one single bar. Kendrick Lamar, the man known for surgical precision with his pen, just dropped a line that has fans split down the middle. Half the culture is calling it one of the most genius double entendres in hip-hop history. The other half, they're calling it outright disrespect, a line that crossed the line, and a shot that may ignite a new war. We're talking about the now infamous Stockton line. Delivered so casually, yet so loaded with meaning, Kendrick sent shockwaves across social media and the industry. Was it a tribute to Stockton's legacy, a subtle nod to loyalty and assists? Or was it a veiled shot meant to humiliate a rival, possibly Drake, by painting him as someone who only scores because others feed him? Within minutes, Twitter threads exploded. Reddit debates turned into full-blown arguments. Celebrities, athletes, and hip-hop legends are weighing in. And insiders are whispering that this one bar may not just be clever, may have been carefully calculated to reopen wounds. Kendrick has been waiting to exploit, so the question is, genius or disrespect? A lyrical masterstroke or a career-ending jab? Stay locked, because what's unfolding behind the scenes is even messier than the bar itself. To really understand why Kendrick Lamar's Stockton line has the entire culture torn apart, we need to go way back to the foundation of who Kendrick is as an artist. He's not just a rapper. He's a poet, a philosopher, and at times a ruthless assassin with his words. Every lyric feels like it's written with a scalpel. Every metaphor carries double and triple meanings. And every time Kendrick decides to send a message, the entire industry holds its breath, waiting to see who he'll crown and who he'll bury. For years, Kendrick has walked the fine line between homage and hostility. He's given props to legends, but he's also torn apart rivals with bars so sharp they live in hip-hop history forever. Think back to 2013, when he dropped the infamous Control verse and called out nearly every rapper of his generation by name. That wasn't just a song, it was a cultural earthquake. Since then, whenever Kendrick spits a line that seems loaded, fans immediately dissect every syllable, searching for hidden shots. And that's what makes this Stockton line so dangerous. On the surface, it seems like a clever sports metaphor. John Stockton, the legendary NBA point guard, is known as one of the greatest assist men in basketball history. He wasn't the flashy scorer, but without him, many superstars wouldn't have racked up the points they did. Kendrick's choice of that name wasn't random. It was calculated, because in hip-hop, the word assist takes on a whole new meaning. Was Kendrick implying that a certain rapper only shines because others do the work for him? Was he suggesting that Drake's biggest hits are built on ghostwriters feeding him the ball while he just finishes the play? Or was it a deeper critique of the industry itself, that some artists build their legacy off the backs of others who never get credit? Immediately, debates lit up. Some fans argued it was genius, a reminder that Kendrick isn't just a rapper, but a storyteller who ties culture, sports, and history into his verses with flawless precision. Others, though, said this wasn't clever, it was cruel. They claimed Kendrick used Stockton's name as a weapon, disguising disrespect as wit. And if that's the case, then this wasn't just a bar. It was a declaration of war. But here's the thing. Kendrick knows exactly what he's doing. He knows the weight his words carry. And insiders claim he didn't just stumble upon this metaphor, was a deliberate move, designed to stir up old wounds with Drake and reignite the battle that has defined hip-hop headlines for the past year. Think about it. The Drake versus Kendrick feud has already split the culture once, with both sides delivering blows that will live forever in rap history. Drake had his hits. Kendrick had his kill shots. Fans thought the dust had settled. But the Stockton line has reopened the wound. Suddenly, timelines are flooded with comparisons again. Who's the real king? Who's the genius? Who's the fraud? And while fans are tearing each other apart online, Industry insiders are saying something even darker, that Kendrick has been holding this bar in the vault, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, waiting for Drake to stumble, waiting for the exact cultural climate where one bar could feel like a knockout punch. So here we are. One lyric, one sports reference, one metaphor. The entire industry is on fire again. But this is only the beginning. Because the deeper you dig into the fallout, the more you realize this line wasn't just clever. It was a chess move in a war Kendrick has been planning for years. And the real twist? What happened after the bar dropped wasn't just a bait. It was pure chaos. Celebrities, athletes, and even Stockton's own family got dragged into the storm. The Stockton bar wasn't just a line, it was a spark. And within hours of its release, that spark became a wildfire. Clips of Kendrick spitting the lyric went viral instantly. Fans slowed down the footage, dissecting every flicker of his expression. Every pause in his delivery, convinced he was aiming straight at Drake. One fan tweeted, "Kendrick, don't waste a single syllable. That's Stockton bar." He basically called Drake a fraud without saying his name. But the internet didn't stop there. Memes flooded in. One showed Drake photoshopped in a Toronto Raptors jersey, standing next to John Stockton, with the caption, "Drake without ghostwriters." Another meme went even harder, showing Kendrick crossing Drake on a basketball court while Stockton assisted with a ghostwriter pass. The culture was laughing, crying, and fighting all at once. Then came the twist that made the situation nuclear. An alleged leaked group chat between several but perhaps the most shocking response came from within Drake's own circle. A mysterious tweet surfaced from a burner account that fans believe belonged to one of his collaborators. The tweet simply read, "Stockton always fed the ball." Within minutes, the account vanished. Screenshots, however, lived on, and here's where the betrayal kicked in. Fans started pointing fingers at Drake's own crew, accusing them of laughing behind his back. Was someone close to him secretly agreeing with Kendrick's jab? Was this why Drake sounded so paranoid in the leaked voice notes? The Stockton line wasn't just a clever lyric anymore. It had cracked open old wounds, turned allies into suspects, and dragged a sports icon into a feud that refused to die. But just when you thought it couldn't get uglier, another twist surfaced, this one so unexpected that it left fans speechless. Rumors began swirling that Kendrick had more Stockton bars locked and loaded, waiting for the next track. One insider claimed, "What y'all heard was just the setup. The next one, that's the kill shot." If true, then what we've seen so far isn't even the peak of the drama, just the beginning. If you thought the Stockton line was just clever wordplay, the fallout proved otherwise. By the third day, it had spiraled into one of the loudest cultural meltdowns of the year. Twitter spaces were filled with thousands debating the bar. Reddit threads ballooned with theories. TikTok stitched Kendrick's performance with Drake's recent stumbles, turning humiliation into a trending soundtrack. But then came the moment that flipped everything upside down. A fake but believable Twitter thread surfaced, claiming to reveal inside info from Top Dog Entertainment. The thread alleged that Kendrick didn't just drop the Stockton line randomly, he had been sitting on it for years, waiting for Drake to slip again. One viral post read, "Kendrick wrote that Stockton bar back in 2020. He told people close to him, 'When the time is right, I'll drop it and it'll end him.'" Screenshots supposedly from studio chats added fuel to the fire. In one, Kendrick allegedly typed, "Drake plays like a scorer, but he never carried, always got the assist." Fans didn't care whether it was real, they believed it. And with belief came chaos. Drake's haters swarmed social media, mocking him relentlessly. One viral TikTok showed side-by-side clips, Kendrick rapping about Stockton. Then Drake caught fumbling lyrics on stage weeks earlier. The caption read, "Kendrick called game before the buzzer." Millions watched. Millions laughed. But Drake's defenders fought back, calling the Stockton bar lazy and accusing Kendrick of obsession. They claimed the sports reference was recycled, a cheap jab dressed up as brilliance. The culture split into two armies: Team Genius Bar versus Team Disrespectful Shot, and then celebrities jumped in again, this time with far sharper edges. Damian Lillard tweeted, "Assist King, facts only." Shaquille O'Neal chimed in on his podcast, "That wasn't just a bar, that was a history lesson. Stockton made legends." Suddenly, athletes themselves were reinforcing Kendrick's metaphor, making it harder for Drake to shake off the humiliation. But the most shocking twist came from a leaked celebrity group chat. Screenshots showed A-list rappers allegedly roasting Drake in private. One message, supposedly from a major New York rapper, read, "This Stockton joint finna haunt him forever." Another added, "This ain't rap beef, this cultural exile." Whether true or not, the screenshots hit the internet like a bomb. Drake's camp tried to do damage control, but it only backfired. A close associate allegedly DM'd a fan page saying, "Y'all are overthinking. Stockton wasn't about Drake at all." Within minutes, that message went viral and fans dragged it mercilessly. If it wasn't about Drake, why so defensive? One reply read, garnering 200,000 likes. Insiders whispered Drake was furious behind the scenes. According to one source, he confronted his team during a heated meeting, slamming his phone down and shouting, "They made me the Stockton punchline. Y'all let this happen." The same source claimed Drake demanded a counter-response track within days. But here's where things got even messier. A second leak, this time, audio surfaced online. In it, a voice alleged to be Drake's can be heard saying, "If I'm Stockton, then who's Jordan? Who's Karl Malone?" Somebody finish the story. Fans lost their minds. Was Drake admitting the metaphor hit? Was he planning to flip it back on Kendrick? Or was this simply frustration spilling out during a private rant? Regardless, the damage was done. The Stockton bar wasn't just living. In rap circles, it was living rent-free in Drake's head. And then came the second devastating twist. A Canadian news outlet dropped a bombshell. Kendrick had allegedly registered the name Stockton Freestyle as a track title weeks before his performance. The discovery sent shockwaves across the internet. Did Kendrick have an entire diss track ready to expand on the Stockton metaphor? Was the line we heard just a teaser for something much, much bigger? Fans erupted. Some said Kendrick was about to deliver the kill shot of the decade. Others argued Drake still had time to clap back and save his legacy. But one thing was certain: what started as a single bar had snowballed into the biggest cultural feud of the year. And here's the cliffhanger. Multiple insiders now claim Kendrick isn't done yet. That Stockton freestyle could be the most brutal diss he's ever written and may drop without warning. By this point, the Stockton line wasn't just a lyric, it was a full-blown cultural battlefield. The world was divided into two armies, and the internet became the front line. On Twitter, #StocktonBar trended for 3 straight days, splitting timelines into chaos. One viral tweet read, "That wasn't just a bar, that was a thesis statement. Kendrick is GOAT for this." Another, just as popular, countered, "Nah, it was corny. You don't use Stockton's name to clown a man. That's disrespect disguised." As genius, YouTube reaction channels exploded with content. Some influencers hailed Kendrick's pen as otherworldly, dissecting the double layers: Stockton as loyalty, Stockton as assists, Stockton as ghostwriting shade. Others blasted him, accusing Kendrick of being petty, obsessed with Drake, and dragging basketball legends into unnecessary beef. Reddit threads raged with conspiracies. Was Kendrick aiming at Drake, or was he throwing a subtler shot at the industry itself, exposing how labels assist artists who can't stand on their own? One top-voted comment said, "This bar wasn't about Drake alone. It was about the whole machine propping up stars. Drake just feels it the most," but the reactions didn't stay online. The industry itself fractured. Hip-hop veterans lined up to take sides. Snoop Dogg called the line brilliant, saying, "That's how you rap. Smart, layered, and dangerous." Meanwhile, DJ Academics blasted Kendrick on stream. He obsessed, "Bro. Imagine being Kendrick Lamar and still writing Drake's name in your diary. And then came the athletes. NBA Twitter was merciless. Damian Lillard doubled down with another post. "Stockton made legends. Don't forget that." Magic Johnson chimed in, tweeting, "John Stockton is one of the greatest assist men of all time." Kendrick paid homage, but not everyone agreed. Charles Barkley fired back on TNT. "I don't know, man. You don't use a man's legacy to clown somebody. Feels foul to me." The Stockton family's involvement only added fuel to the fire. After Stockton's son's earlier statement went viral, a rumor spread that John Stockton himself was privately disappointed that his name was caught in the crossfire. Whether true or not, fans debated endlessly: was Kendrick honoring Stockton, or dragging his legacy into a feud that had nothing to do with him? Drake's fans, meanwhile, launched their own counter-campaign. Hashtags like #respect Drake and #KendrickObsessed began trending, filled with fans insisting that Kendrick was trying to cling to relevance by reigniting their feud. If Drake wasn't in his head, why even say the line? One fan argued. But here's where things got dangerous. Whispers from the business world began to surface. According to one industry insider, festival organizers are watching this closely. If the Stockton controversy kept growing, there were fears of fan clashes at live events, with Kendrick and Drake supporters turning concerts into battlegrounds. Meanwhile, blogs began reporting that Drake's label was quietly pressuring him to respond. "They can't let Kendrick control the narrative," one report claimed. "If Drake stays silent, it looks like an admission. If he responds and misses, it could end him. It's the biggest gamble of his career." And that's where the divide reached boiling point. Fans weren't just asking whether the bar was genius or disrespectful anymore. They were asking a far more dangerous question. Would Drake clap back, or would he crumble under the weight of it all? Just when it felt like the Stockton bar debate couldn't get any bigger, the final twist landed in. It was the deadliest one yet. Late at night, mysterious SoundCloud link began circulating in private Discord groups and hip-hop forums. The track, labeled only as Stockton Freestyle Snippet, was just 38 seconds long, but it was enough to send the culture into hysteria. The snippet allegedly featured Kendrick himself, delivering more lines directly tied to the Stockton metaphor: assist after assist, but you ain't built for the clutch. They fed you every plate, but you never cooked much. Fans went wild. If the snippet was reland, insiders insisted it was, then the Stockton line we all heard wasn't the end. It was the setup. Kendrick had an entire Stockton-themed diss record in the chamber, and what leaked was just the opening shot. Drake's camp immediately scrambled. Multiple blogs reported that his team was working overtime, allegedly holding emergency studio sessions to craft a counter-diss. But sources whispered that Drake wasn't ready, that the Stockton metaphor had cut too deep, hitting right at the ghostwriting allegations he's tried to bury for years. Then came the second bombshell. A well-known industry insider tweeted that Kendrick's Stockton line wasn't even aimed at Drake, it was aimed at the industry itself. According to the claim, Kendrick was exposing how labels act like Stockton's, feeding songs, writers, and opportunities to artists who can't stand on their own. If true, That means Kendrick wasn't just taking a shot at Drake, he was calling out an entire system. And that's what makes this so terrifying. Because if Stockton Freestyle drops, it won't just be a diss track, it could be a manifesto. A record that shakes the foundations of how hip-hop sees itself. Meanwhile, Drake's silence only made things worse. Fans begged him to respond, critics mocked his delay, and Kendrick's supporters declared victory before the next round had even begun. And now, the question hanging in the air is bigger than ever. Will Drake clap back, or will Kendrick bury him with Stockton forever? So here we are. One bar, one metaphor, one cultural explosion. Kendrick Lamar drops the Stockton line, and suddenly the entire industry is split. Some say it's the most genius lyric of the decade, layered with history, sports, and truth. Others say it's flat-out disrespectful, a cheap shot designed to reopen old wounds. And now, with rumors of a full Stockton freestyle in the vault, the debate has reached a fever pitch. But the real question is, what happens next? Will Kendrick drop the full diss and cement this as the defining moment of hip-hop's new era? Or will Drake finally clap back, silencing the laughter and reclaiming his crown? Could this be the beginning of a new lyrical war, one that drags the entire culture back into the battlefield of bars? I want to hear from you. Was Kendrick paying homage to Stockton, or was he throwing shade at Drake? Do you think this was genius writing, or just disrespect dressed up as clever wordplay? And most importantly, if Stockton freestyle drops, do you think Drake even has the tools to respond? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Let's get this debate raging, because your voice is part of the culture too. Smash that like button if you think Kendrick just outsmarted the industry. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because when the next leak or diss track lands, we'll be here first to break it all down. Trust me, what's coming next is bigger than a bar. It's bigger than Stockton. It could be the moment that decides who truly holds the crown in hip-hop. Stay tuned. This story isn't finished.